What are you seeing are the common mistakes that everybody is making?
To create a better financial life for ourselves.
When it comes
Yep.
to money, it's always anxiety because you. Greetings from Chicagoland, everybody. How are you today? Welcome to another episode of Munira's Musings. Our guest today is Amira MacCue. Did I say that right?
You sure did, yes.
And she is joining us all the way from the down under, the Australia. So
Yes, I am.
welcome to Munira's Musings, Amira. You are going to talk to us about money, right?
I sure am, and hopefully not in a boring way.
Oh, perfect. Because money is something that everybody strives for. So, just before we dive in, this is a podcast where one story can change the way you see the world. During each episode, we sit down with a remarkable guest whose journeys open doors to insight, growth, and often to a whole new perspective. These are real stories that mark real conversations, part storytelling, part soul searching, and always an invitation to growth. Grab your cup of tea if you're waking up, or whatever it takes for you to do, and have a seat, listen to this conversation. So welcome to Munira's Musings, Amira. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, firstly, let me say thank you. It's a pleasure being here, and I've been watching some of your episodes and found some amazing stuff already. so, so yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Most welcome. Well, just a little bit of a hiccup there because of the timings, right? But
Yeah, there was a little bit because it's evening for me and it's early morning for you. So this is the price of, working with people globally. But it's a wonderful thing, don't you think, that we can do that? Because once upon a time, not that long ago, we wouldn't have been able to do it.
right. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, where to start? Well, I am a mum. I have two children. So my daughter is 34 and my son is 24. And so my daughter actually has a disability. And so I've spent most of my adult life being a carer, but also a business owner as well. So I have learnt lots and lots of things. And one of these things was about money. Made many mistakes in business, as I'm sure most of us who are a bit entrepreneurial have, and just tried to solve my own problems and some of my family's problems, and kind of ended up in this space helping other people.
Okay, so tell us, you said you had a little bit of problems with money. Can you share some of your problems?
Yeah, some really not great ones. Yeah, so I guess growing up, we didn't have much money. My parents were actually teenagers when they had me. So, and there was, unfortunately, this is the bad part, but unfortunately we had a lot of people die very young in my family. So it took an emotional toll as well as a financial toll. And so, I actually, growing up, because we were put in these situations that were less than pleasant, I actually found that money was something like, I was just so ashamed of every situation that we seem to end up in. So lots and lots of shame. Then having a child who has a disability, I'm sure people can appreciate that you don't go and work full time in that situation. And usually there can be a lot of financial stress there. So I decided that, you know what, I'll try my hand at being a business owner. And it was a cleaning business. And my aim was that I would have people working for me, and I'd make some money, and I'd be able to spend more time with my daughter looking after her. That's not quite what happened. I ended up working a lot. Didn't know that I should have charged more. Wasn't really great at managing money. And so I ended up shutting that business down 8 years later with huge amounts of debt that I owed people, including the tax office. So that's your IRS or something similar to that. Yeah. So yeah, I had to make friends with the ATO and pay them back for quite a number of years. So that was not fun. And because of all of that, I said, you know what? I can't do this. I have to learn about money. And so that's kind of where it started, just like this quest to figure out what to do about the situation and not let it happen again.
Okay, so I mean, we've all done it, right? We've got any entrepreneur out there. I mean, unless they have a lot of money, everybody's made mistakes, especially in this space. We don't know how to manage money. We don't know how to expense our accounts properly. We use our one credit card for everything, business and everything. So, you know, and we've all done it. I'm also guilty of that. But there's nobody out there who explains it to us. So, in all of these trials and errors and everything else, and including owing money with the IRS, your tax people over there, what have you learned and what are you teaching? And when you're talking to people in entrepreneurs, in the entrepreneurial space, what are you seeing are the common mistakes that everybody is making?
A couple of things. If you'd asked me years ago, I would have said just managing money, like understanding how to create budgets and understand cash flow. I would have told you that was the biggest issue. And while it is part of the issue, I don't think it's the biggest issue. And I'm also a qualified bookkeeper. So I actually help people manage their business finances and come up with strategies and stuff and how that works with their marketing, all that type of thing. So what I would now say, 8 years later, I would say that our mindset is the biggest issue, the biggest block to helping us move forward with our finances, because a lot of fear, a lot of misunderstandings and confusions means that we can't emotionally do what we need to create a better financial life for ourselves. So I can't say that you just have to come up with some sort of strategy. If you just budget, everything will be fixed, because you know what? It doesn't work. There's got to be something else to it. So I like to bring compassion and understanding in my work and make people feel comfortable and try to, I guess, help them relax their nervous system, right? Because you're normally in a state by this point. And coming along and saying to someone, here, let's just get your budget done, is not going to be the answer. If you can't talk to me about the situation, how can I help you? So I kind of took it back and created this course called Peace with Money, so that we actually look at what's going on with ourselves, you know, both physically, like taking care of ourselves physically, and emotionally, so that we can have these conversations, so we can get to the budgeting part.
So when you say mindset, what kind of mindset should somebody be in? Like, what are we looking for? I mean, when it comes to money, it's always anxiety, because you either have a lot of it or you don't have enough, right? So
And that's exactly what I was talking to somebody about today. We spend so much time looking at what we don't have and not enough time looking at what we actually do have and what we have had.
Right.
So, I mean, if we've managed to keep a roof over our head and we're well fed, and I could say that most people are well fed in our Western societies for the past 50 years, what evidence do you have that you're not going to continue that, you know, to have the roof over your head and to have food? But yet we walk around all day and we wake up at night, can't sleep at night, worried that we won't have anything tomorrow, even though we have plenty right now.
So then, do you begin with gratitude? Isn't that one of the first things that you have to start looking at?
Sometimes I think, honestly, when we go through this program that I created, the first thing we actually have to look at our energy. So if we're not taking care of ourselves and we don't have any energy, there's going to be energy leaks, things that annoy us, bug us, conversations we haven't had. We're going to look there. And then sometimes people cannot find gratitude. They're like, but I don't have enough. How can I be grateful for what I've got?
Right.
So sometimes we have to try to bypass that and go, okay, So let me ask you, what has money ever done for you? Like, tell me some good things that have happened and that money was along for the ride with you. So was it the trip you had? Was it the present you bought your child? Was it the dinner out that you had with somebody? So yes, it is gratitude, but sometimes people can't bring themselves to call that gratitude. So if we go around it, skirt around it a little bit, then we can usually find something we can be happy about, and just takes that one little thought, and then we can build on those things.
You mentioned mindset, which is a huge piece in everything that we do. We just have to. You said energies and mindset, and there's other coaches out there who say you have to bring up your energy up to the level where you are sharing this with everybody else. How do you do that? How do you bring your energy up, your vibration?
How do I bring it up?
Yeah. Teach us how to do that, because they talk about vibrational frequency, and it's like, okay, but how do you, is there a bell you can ring, or how do you do that, right?
Well, I don't know if other people are ringing bells, if that works for them, but for me, it's been many years of, I guess inquiry is the right word, and checking in on what I believe, noticing what I'm saying, noticing what other people are saying, and kind of delving into these stories. And this has actually taken me quite a long time to get to this, but I do it actually now on a daily basis. So I have a few little things. One thing I found particularly helpful, but it might not suit people yet. You can't tell people something that happens in your journey and where you're at makes sense to you, but sometimes I could say that to someone else and that's not where they're at yet. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Gay Hendricks, and he's got a book called The Big Leap, but I actually found the upper limit problem fascinating. And so this idea of not being able to feel good or being uncomfortable feeling good. So I really have been working on that for a while now, in expanding my ability to feel good. Because think about this, I have a daughter who has a disability, and when I was having her, when I was pregnant, I used to think, oh, I hope nothing goes wrong, because I'd never be able to forgive myself. And I'm convinced I talked myself into it. I used to say that on a daily basis. And when you have somebody in your family who has a disability, it can be nerve-wracking every single day going, what if something happens to them? And so I don't feel like I've had too many choices. If I didn't want to walk around being anxious all the time, I had to start questioning why I believe what I do and change my perspective on things. So I do my best every day to look at what's going right, how I'm lucky. Sometimes people might not think that they're lucky, or sometimes people might look at me and go, oh, you're not that lucky, look at all these things that have happened to you. But I just need to go and search for how lucky I am, and I have something which I call a little bit of a mind reel. So how we have Instagram, we can scroll reels on Instagram and TikTok. Well, do you know what? Before all of that, we actually have our own mind. So I have created a few different little scenes, and if I start to feel bad, I run through them. And there are various kids' birthday parties, or a trip when I got to go to Canada for the first time, when I left Australia for the first time and went to America. I'm lucky. Those things possibly were never going to happen for me, given the situation I grew up in. So I feel if I remind myself of those things, then it's not hard to feel lucky and lift my vibration. So yeah, it's really where you put your mind, I think.
Right. Are you primarily the people that you work with, are they entrepreneurs?
At the moment, yes, they are. Yeah.
Okay, so you teach them how to get into this mindset and raise their frequency of vibration and all of that stuff. Why is this? why do you think people don't come ready-made prepared for this? I mean, why do you have to teach them this item?
Yeah, because I think that most of us, I would say the majority of us are brought up on keeping ourselves safe. And actually in that course, we talk about it as well. If you think about, if we're going back in time, let's think caveman days or something, right? The person who was the optimist is going to get eaten. And the pessimist is the one who's going to go, oh, I'm going to run away and be safe. So we're programmed to look at the worst and keep ourselves safe. And so it made sense back then because, you could get eaten at any time, right? But that's not how life is nowadays. I mean, we live indoors most of the time. We've got security systems and doors, and yes, things happen. But for the most part, most of us are pretty safe. But yet we keep going on with this scarcity, this fear, this anxiety. What if something goes wrong all the time? So one of the other things I learned is we have this what if, they call it what if down. So when we're going our what if, we're always thinking of the worst. But there's a lady, her name's Mandy Adlin. She talks about what if up. So what if I changed jobs and actually it was better for me and I got paid more? Or what if I started working full-time in my business and I got lovely clients and they appreciated me and paid me well? So instead of looking at the worst, we're again lifting our vibration by looking at what if things actually went right. So yeah, we come ready-made pessimistic, and we have to work at it to be not pessimistic. So
okay, so this is so okay. So what one of the things that you said is to raise your vibrational frequency. Tell the audience what else you see that's a common problem with the entrepreneurs and their money mindset, and how are you helping them fix that? Just a few more tips. Thank you.
yeah, I'd say the biggest problem is pretending everything's fine.
Okay.
So we want everybody to think that everything's going well and it's fine. But what we may not realize is that it's almost, how would I describe it? It's almost like that vibration you're giving off is actually things aren't going fine and I'm pretending that they're fine. And I don't want to have a conversation with somebody because that's the other issue. I don't want to talk about this because A, I don't want people to know, and B, I think I could just fix it myself. So I think that's probably the biggest issue, and rightly so. Let's be honest. You don't want to go around telling people that all the time, right?
Right.
But you do need to find somebody that you can feel safe with. And I wouldn't even sometimes suggest that. Often family and friends can be your people who knock you down the most, right? So it's probably not those people if they haven't been supporting you yet. But you do need to go and find somebody that you can talk to. And you don't have to divulge everything, but at least have somebody that you can confide in, and then work through those situations. So, because you never know. It just takes, so this one group that I've got going for the last couple of months, in just a few months, the members in that group have started collaborating with each other and creating other things like workshops and courses and, subscription-based products as well. And that's just because they're talking to somebody else outside their industry and getting ideas from them.
Okay, so that's a good idea, because you have to find a safe person that you can talk to about it, because you never know who this person, how this person can uplift you, right?
Exactly.
And that's what you want.
I'm not going to say it's easy.
collaboration.
It's not easy.
No, it's not easy, because nobody wants to know. You feel the fact, and I've been there, so I can talk from experience, where you feel that you're being bogged down with all of the debt and all of the stuff that is happening around you, and all of the people that around you are spending money, are having a joyful time, and you are thinking, can I afford this ice cream myself, because this is going to create a dent in my budget. So, and it has happened before, and I'm a living, walking, talking advertisement as well. I don't want to advertise that, but it's happened to all of us.
Yes.
One of the things that helped me was I had an Excel sheet, and I still have that Excel sheet. It's been going for almost 25 years now, where I put down every penny that I use, so I can go back even now on an Excel sheet and look at what was, what is, and how we fared through that, right? And sometimes you have ups and downs, and money is something that is somebody has told me it's fluid currency, because it's never there. It comes in and you have to figure out a way for it to go out. So it siphons out. But like you said, what is the thing that's going to help you? And what's the thing that's going to help you is figuring out, have you kept a roof over your head? Are you well fed? Have you been able to clothe yourself? You may not be able to buy an outfit once a month or twice a month, but you've been able to buy an outfit maybe once in 6 months. Yeah. So you're not so you're not just a raggedy person out there. You are smart. You are taking care of it. But this is something that happens. So,
can I give your audience one more tip about this idea about money?
Sure.
On what you just said. So I, having been a bookkeeper and a spending planner, I obviously get insider information into what's going on.
Right.
And I can tell you that, and of course I always keep my clients' confidentiality, but one thing I can tell you is that often people are spending money they do not have. And so you may see somebody who's buying this and that, and it looks like they're having a great time. But the truth is that in the background, there's often a whole bunch of debt, a whole bunch of interest being paid, and a whole bunch of stress going, geez, I hope I can pay this off, because I'm trying to make myself feel better by spending. And then we get into the spending guilt cycle. So I'm trying to make myself feel better by spending, but then I know I shouldn't have spent because I can't pay my debt off, and my debt's getting bigger, and so now I feel guilty, and round we go. So often those people are not helping them.
So it's a spiral effect that doesn't ever end, right?
Exactly. And so usually it ends up in something like bankruptcy, which is, thankfully I managed to avoid bankruptcy, but from what I've heard, it's a very painful and embarrassing experience. So sometimes the person, and this is the other thing that's a bit of a myth, people think that people who are on low incomes or something, they're the ones who are terrible at managing their money, but often they're actually very good at managing their money because they have to if they're going to get everything paid. And yes, occasionally they may only be able to treat themselves to an ice cream or something, but then you've got people who earn hundreds of thousands of dollars a year who still think they don't earn enough, and they create way more debt and way more stress than the person who's got $50,000 a year.
No, I like that. I like that. So how do you stop people from buying stuff? Like,
by working on their emotional life. Yeah.
So I can talk to you about this because you are in this mode of being an entrepreneur, and then somebody comes along with this course and you think you need it like oxygen, and then you need that oxygen. And it's like all of a sudden you've got a whole array of courses that you are not doing anything with, that hasn't helped you in any way, or they're just shelved. And you've spent all this money and it's like, what do I do now? But I still
that's why we've got to come back to the vision of why we're in business. And I think we need to know our values as well, because that is another big thing. We often see people buy book after book and they've never even cracked the spine, or course after course. And there's nothing wrong with buying courses. But if you have no time to do the course, then what is the point? And just by buying the course does not actually change anything. So we really need to get clear on what our vision is, and also what our values are, and look at what our focus is. So one way of doing it is saying, I'm never not going to buy a course again, but for right now, my focus is to do X, and I'm going to finish that first, and then I'm going to look at the next thing. The other thing we can do is actually create budgets. Now, I know it's a boring word, but what I like to do is I like to try to get people in a good vibe first. Then we talk budgets and create budgets a little bit, and then bring us back into a high vibe again, like a good feeling, something about, something that we've been able to do well, so that we end up on a good note. And then we've done the work in the middle. But yes, if we have a budget that we're sticking to in our business as well, how much money are we going to spend on networking, marketing, education? And so if we know where we're at with that, we know when to stop as well.
Right. That's a very good tip. Thank you so much. So, Amira, where do people find you?
People can find me on Facebook, and there's only one of me. So easy to find me there. Easy to find me on LinkedIn as well, and Instagram. But on Instagram, it's Your Money Habit is the name of my business. In LinkedIn and Facebook, it's Amira MacCue. So that always takes people to my messenger, or I look at those messages all the time. So
okay, great. So there you have it, folks. You know that this has been a very interesting conversation. Nobody ever talks about money. Last week we had a guest who was talking about how to use your money to keep your financial planning going, and how to keep that part of you healthy. But if you're an entrepreneur, you have to be in the correct mindset, as Amira said. And unfortunately, this brings us to the end of this episode of Munira's Musings. I hope today's conversation gave you something to think about, maybe a fresh idea, a little bit of encouragement, or just a new way of looking at the finance and the world. If it did, why not pass it along to a friend and keep the conversation going? And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, please sure to subscribe. Use the bell icon so that when we have a new episode that drops, it does find its way to you. Thank you for spending some time with us. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and keep making your mark. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, Amira.
thank you so much for your time.